All right, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can factor this. This is how these are typically going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can factor that. Now the factors of x squared are x and x. The factors of 1 are 1 and 1. Now I can get a 2 out of these 1s, so I think I'm okay here. Now this is a minus sign. This is a plus sign, so this is plus, so these two numbers are going to have the same sign, and that's going to be a minus. So it looks like we'll have x minus 1, x minus 1, which I will rewrite as quantity x minus 1 squared, and this will give us the absolute value of x minus 1, but we're told that all expressions are going to be positive numbers, so we can assume that this is positive now. So the absolute value of a positive number is that number itself, and we will just write this as x minus 1. So I want to simplify this radical expression. First thing I noticed, between 75, 30, and 3, there's a 3 common. So I'm going to factor out that 3, and if I do that, what's left is 25x squared plus 10x plus 1. And now I know how these things are going to work. It's going to be 3. Now, what about this? If you're right, okay, let's just do this. This is going to be, how to get 25x squared? How about 5x, a 1, right? This 1, I'm going to have to use a 1 and a 1. The 1 is positive, so they both have that sign right there, that plus sign. And sure enough, take the outer product. Well, I didn't write it so it's even readable here. Let me see if I can write that so we can read it. This is supposed to be a 5x plus 1. And then if I take the outer product, just check it. Outer product times the inner product. 5x plus 5x, 10x. So this, 25x squared plus 10x plus 1, factors like this. We're going to have the square root of 3 times the 5x plus 1 squared. And now I can take this part out. Absolute value, 5x plus 1. Square root of 3 is left. But we're assuming everything's positive, so absolute value of a positive number is positive. So I'm going to write this as, be careful, quantity 5x plus 1 square root of 3. Right, not this. 5x plus 1 times square root of 3. Okay, that just doesn't work. I want the whole square root of 3 multiplied by that 5x plus 1. So let's simplify square root of 6 times square root of 10. Now neither one of those has, we can break down neither one, right? Square root of 6 has no perfect squares. Square root of 10 has no perfect squares. But if we multiply them, now they're both square roots, so I can multiply right under the radicals. This will give us the square root of 60. Now, do you know any perfect squares that go into 60? What about 4? Here's the squares we know. 4, 9, 16. Well, 4 goes into 60, 50 times. So 15 times. So I'll get square root of 4 times 15, square root of 4 times square root of 15, 2 square roots of 15. All right, square root of 3x, can't do anything with that, so I'm just going to rewrite that. But 75y, I can write as 25 times 3y. Now that square root of 25, let's just bring that straight out. That's going to be 5. And what are we left with? Square root of 3x, square root of 3y, and because they're both square roots, I can multiply right under, getting 3x times 3y. This will give us 5 times square root of 9xy, and the square root of 9 is 3, so I'll bring that out. So we'll get 5 times 3, square root of xy. So how about 15 square root of xy? Square root of 11 times square root of 11, any square root multiplied by itself is just 11. Or you could think of it like this. Since they're both square roots, you can multiply right under the radical, getting 11 times 11, or square root of 11 squared, which gives you 11. But anytime you multiply a square root by itself, you're going to get that radicand, the number under the radical. And 17 is going to be the same as 16. I'm multiplying a square root by itself. Square root of 5t, square root of 5t. I'm just going to get 5t. Let's multiply these together. Now, actually, what I'm going to do first, I just saw I can do a couple of things here. I got an x squared, I can bring an x out, and I got a y to the 8th, I can bring a y to the 4th out, and a 9, I can bring a 3 out. All right, so I'm going to write this one, I'll do it in pieces here. I'm going to write this as x. Now we're assuming that all the variables are positive, so I should get the absolute value of x, but because we're assuming everything's positive, I'll just get an x. So I'll get x, and what's left? Absolute square root of 3y times. Now, square root of 9 is 3. The square root of this y to the 8th is y to the 4th. If you take the square root, just divide the exponent by 2. So we will get y to the 4th, and what's left is an x. So here's what we have. We have 3x, y to the 4th, and then what's under the radical is a 3. I'll write in alphabetical order. I got a 3y times an x, but I'll write it as 3xy. Now in 19, it doesn't look like, I can't simplify that, I can't simplify that, so I'm going to multiply right under the radical. I'll get square root of 2 times, parentheses, right? I want to multiply all of it. So this will give me the square root of 10x plus 4. That's the best we're going to do with that. Now don't do this. Don't be thinking square root of 10x plus square root of 4 and then getting square root of 10x plus 2. All right, this is an addition in here, and I can't break up a square root through an addition. And here in number 20, I'm multiplying the square root by itself, so I just get that radicand, the x plus 2.